Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. My name is Lucas, and today we're going to be transferring a WordPress website from WordPress to Framer, and we're going to be doing it with my friend's business website, which is right here. I have access to his WordPress admin, and so I'm going to show you how to transfer a static website from WordPress, and I'm also going to show you how to transfer, if you have a blog, transferring your blog into Framer and stylizing it in a way that it stays consistent to your WordPress design. And the reason why most of you guys would want to do this, obviously, is because WordPress is kind of limiting in terms of design. Obviously, there's tools like Elementor, which help you a lot, and they're pretty good in terms of design, but they're still not as fun to use as a web designer, like a tool like Framer, for example. So I'm going to show you today how to transfer from WordPress to Framer. Hope you guys enjoyed. Now, we do have our website here in WordPress. We have our preview here, and we also have the pages here. So for this particular website, we only have 7 pages. We do not have a blog, but I can show you kind of how it would work like. Usually they're here in this post, but we're gonna just stick to our static pages for now. And so let's say that we want to do this homepage, right? Well, first of all, we need to open Framer. We need to have a project that's open. So first thing that I'm going to do, well, first thing that you'll see is a desktop breakpoint like this. And we always want to design responsively in Framer. So we're going to do this. We're going to open all of these pages, and now we're going to go back to Chrome. And what I want to start doing is I want to open this extension. It's called HTML to Framer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each specific section of this page. I'm going to click, and then I'm going to hold down shift and click every main layout that I see here, right? So now I have 4. This one's going to be the 5th one. This one is going to be the 6th, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Framer, and we're going to press paste. And as you can see here, it kind of adjusted the width of my desktop frame. I wanted to go back to what it was before, which was 1200. So let's just select this and go 1200. And now you can see that it's kind of not looking the way that it was in WordPress, but that's totally fine because we're obviously gonna have to, WordPress, it's built differently. The person that built this website used Elementor, and Elementor kind of builds with HTML, CSS. And in Framer, we use a different type of system with not frames, but with stacks, with layouts. So we have to basically convert all of these different frames into stacks, especially this one, the starting one. So we want to actually put this to fit. So now when it's set to fit, basically you can see these white lines. It's like a gap. We can set this to 0, and this basically does this to all of the different sizes. Let's just make sure that everything is here, right? So now we have the desktop, the tablet, and the phone. And I would say that the hardest thing to edit right now would be the navbar. So let's just actually put this navbar away for now. And we're going to do that at the very end. So let's start off from the top. As we can see here, there's this image, which we see it is pretty familiar with what we were looking at before. Let's actually make this 1200. And this image is just like in the website, but there's something missing, right? This text is missing. So let's just go ahead and copy this text and this button as well. And let's go back to Framer and click on paste. And let's make this 1200 again. Now what we want to do is we want to get this, all of this down here, and let's bring it over here to the side. Perfect. So this particular frame is going to be a layout. It's not going to be an image. It's going to be a stack. And we want the stack to go from up to down. And we're going to want to put these elements into this stack right? So we want to start off like this. First one, second one, third one, and then we're going to want to put this on the bottom. And actually, before we add the button, we're going to have to make this button as a component, because if we go back here, you're going to see that, and if we remove this extension, we're going to see that this has a type of a hover effect, right? It's like a white to red, let's say. So what we can do is we can just get this. This is a stack. We can make it left aligned. And then we can kind of, with the inspect tool, inspect to see what is the padding here. So we can maybe click here and kind of see, well, let me just make this smaller. I can click here. And it's kind of complicated because it's WordPress, but okay, maybe this gives me some type of something. And we can see width, no, where is the padding top? 5 REM. Okay, so we can just eyeball it then. Let's say that it's like 60 pixels. So what we can do is we can go like this. We'll go 60 pixels on the right, 60 pixels on the left. And then it's starting to look nicer. This image, by the way, has like an overlay, so we want to add that as well. So how can we do that? We can go back to Framer, and it has an overlay because it is too light right now. So what we want to do is we want to add, maybe by clicking F, another frame inside of the stack. Let's put it actually inside of the stack. Or let's go like this. Put the frame inside and make it absolute and make it 100% relative. 100% relative. Make it a 0 index, and make these 1 Z index. If we find the style, there we go. 1. And then, like I said before, just make this dark. So basically the whole thing is just stylizing it in a way that just importing everything and then styling it at the end. So like I said here with the button, we're going to turn this into a stack. So we're going to give this frame a layout, and then we're going to make this white. We're going to make these two white. So let's make this one white. And before we turn it white, we can save this red, because I see it basically in many places of this design. Let's make this red. And let me get this graphic wherever it was. And we don't really need this icon. We can just add a new icon from Framer. It makes our lives much easier. And we can go like this. And we can write arrow forward and make it white as well. Put it here, delete this, and then this can be called button. So I'm basically showing you guys how to, from WordPress, how to basically convert this into Framer, right? So this would be a component, because we have to create component because it has this hover interaction. So once we hover, this is going to turn red. Let's make this line also turn red, why not? So this is going to turn red, and this will turn red. So if I were to click on home, and if I were to put this underneath, which it actually has to be Z index of 1, not of 0, press play, and voila, we have our nice button. So now we can even make the design better than it was in WordPress. As you can see, the spacing is not very nice. I think these texts should be together, and then the button should be a little bit lower. What we can do is we can just get these three, put them into their own stack, make it left aligned, reduce the gap, and then what we do is we're going to get this, and we're going to increase the gap. Oh, actually, sorry, not with this one, with this one. We're gonna increase the gap here to about 40. That's looking nice. And then we can even introduce some padding on the top and bottom, like this, and make this not fixed height, but fit content. Boom. And we can make this a fill. And now it's starting to look nicer, right? And then with this next one, let's see, this is looking nice, just like it's supposed to be, but again, this has to have a layout, right? It can't just be, you know, in the middle of nowhere. We want to even actually make this design better. I don't know why this is in the middle. Let's put it aligned here, right? This is the beauty of Framer, right? You have complete control with design. So let's put the fill like this, and let's make this stack have a padding on the right and left, just like on the top, 60 pixels. So it's going to be perfectly aligned. So now we have this nice little text in between that, you know, we can use here. So now with this next one, again, the first thing you got to do, add this layout. How was it looking like before? Like this and like this. Okay, perfect. So for this one, again, this is a button. We want to just remove this eventually. But with these two, so this one and this one, who we are and the Euro doors, we want to add a stack. Going down. And then this was going to be its own stack. So then these two would be together as well because they're, you know, in the same layout. And then these things, so this is empty, so we can delete this. And then this frame is, we can delete this. And then we can just convert this into its own layout, and boom, we have something looking good. Now we just want this to be a fill width, let's say, and we would want this to be in its own stack, which would be filled. This won't be fixed, it would be filled. All right, and then this main stack, let's put a padding on the right and left, 60, 60. And then here we're gonna make it like this. We're gonna reduce the gap to be about 0. This one, I don't know why it's so, okay, the line height. Something like this. We just gotta like adjust things, right? Make it look at how it is. Okay, perfect. And then let's make this, go back to Framer, and let's get our button, copy it, and bring it down here. And let's get the stack and align it left. And I think now it's looking more like it. Let's just add a little bit of a gap here. So gap 30. Let's add a gap here between these two, like 20. Perfect. So that's done. So we can even name our layers. So if you're familiar to Figma, for example, this is like a game changer Framer because it's so similar to Figma. So this is called text stack. This is called preview. And then this is going to be called like numbers. Let's just add it, give it a layout. By the way, I hope you guys are understanding everything. Hope I'm not too fast. If I am, please write down in the comments and I'll be more than happy to talk to you privately so I can, you know, help you guys with all of this. So all of these stacks are going to be going downwards like this. How does it look like? Okay, it's in the middle, and these small texts are going to be in the bottom. So we have to add a K here. Whoops. And then this is going to go in the bottom. So it's so easy with this visual editor. We just got to copy this stuff and make it fill here. Make it go in the middle and make the line height smaller. Percent 100. Okay. And let's reduce the gap. And okay, each one is, we have to make them a little bit closer to each other, right? So let's just add some padding, like with everything, 60, 60. And then for each one, we can add a maximum width of about, let's say 400 pixels or 200. So it's gonna look like this, right? So it's gonna stay right smack in the middle. Now, it looks pretty crazy in the phone. You're totally right, but we're gonna fix that at the very end, right? So for now, let's just continue. We have this image. Let's add a stack to this image. So by doing that, we just press the layout. Boom, we're done. Image would be fill, so it's filled. And then what we can do is we can just, it's this image, right? We can just save this image somehow. Just for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna do like a screenshot. But if you have this image saved into your computer, you can just do this, come here, click on fill, choose image. And I have this as a screenshot, so it's gonna be in my recents. And boom, it's like that. Just like that. And it's gonna be basically responsive. Now let's do it for the next stuff. So for this one, as I was, selecting these different sections in WordPress, I noticed that this was kind of strangely built. So we're gonna kind of rebuild this here. Let's copy this button because I see it's needed over here. But what we need to do here, okay, so we have these two sections. So let's add a layout here. And our products also stack, but going upwards and to the left aligned and something like this. And then the learn more would be gone. Let's just delete it. And let's put this button over here. Perfect. So basically now we have this like this on the other side. Let's give this padding to the right and left. Perfect. And then for this, let's also give this a layout and stack, and like this, and let's see how it's built. So we have left, okay, left aligned. So let's go back to Framer and left aligned. So boom, boom, perfect, left aligned. They're both set to fill. We need to add this padding on the right and left. Perfect. And now let's set the height here to fit content. And let's actually give it a little bit space here. Set this also to fit content. It's actually very smart if we set this fit content everywhere, because, it's just good design. So this should also be fit content, but should have some padding everywhere. And this should be fit content as well. Let's add the padding on the top and bottom. Okay, and this as well, fit content, top and bottom. And I believe we already did that here. Yes, here. Fit content, and the frame shouldn't be fixed. It should be relative 100%. Cool. All right, then let's get going to the next thing, which is this one. Again, if you guessed it, we have to add a layout because this should be a stack. So let's just go back here, add a layout. Actually, before I do that, let me see kind of what we need to organize. So this is going to be top, bottom, button. Okay, so then there's actually an image missing here. And let's just add an image for old time's sakes like this and give it like a fake little thing. Put it in here. And this thing is going to be its own stack. And this stack is going to be like this. So these two are going to be its own stack, and it's going to go underneath each other. This frame is gone. We're going to delete it. This text is gone. This is going to be its own layout. I'm just looking, oh, product line, here it is. Boom, left align, start. And this will be here. And this will be a layout. And this stack will be fill, and will be fit content. And the same with here, fill, fit content. This is going to be left aligned, right? Well, here it's centered, but we're going to make it look nicer. We're going to make this go on the top, but we're going to give it some padding. I'm going to make this whole stack fit the content and add some padding left and right and bottom and top. Okay, you have that. Width will be set to fill, and this can be a little bit larger, I'd say. You can make this set to fill. Yeah. And then this one is going to be also its own layout. And the image will be fill, and this is going to have a fixed height. Yeah, it's fine. And then here is kind of like a complicated thing. Basically, this is the form, right? So we have, if we go back to WordPress, oh, we have to add our button here, by the way. So let's go back here. And as you notice, like all these different buttons have different text in the different locations. So what we can do is we can, should I set the height to fill? And let's make this, and let's do the space between. Something like that. And then, so yeah, the buttons. So we can go here and add a variable to the content. And then what we can do is, for example, this one is going to have a different name to showroom. So view all products. So let's go back here, click here, and then view all products. That's how you would change it, and it would still have the same effect. Okay, now we got this part where it's one stack. Second stack will be the form. The form is going to change because it's going to be, we want it to work. Right now it's just like, frames. So we don't want that. The submit button we also don't really need. These we don't need. These we will need. Your door to here. So let's add a stack. Let's make it go like, no, sorry. Let's make it go left. And then this has to have its own layout. The layout will go like this. And then we want to add a form, right? So we form, and go like this. This stack has to be fill. This has to be fill. And then we want to do this. We want to set a padding on the right and left. And we want this form to also be filled, not fixed. So we have a nice little form here. We can style it as we want, but I don't want to go so deep into that right now. But basically we can style this form, we can style the button to be more like the WordPress one, right? So we got that. And now our last thing is the footer. So the footer, again, let's just get all of these things, add stacks. So let me just add a stack here. Contact us and these things. So this is its own stack as well. Add stack, opening hours to here, stack, boom to boom is a stack. And then we're going to delete this. I don't know what it is. Okay, it's another form. We're going to delete this form. So let's go to Framer, delete the form, and then we're going to give this a layout over here. And we're going to make it like this. And we're going to set the width of each one to be fill. And then each one is going to be set like this. We're going to want it to be, we're going to want everything to be like this. Give it a nice padding and some padding on the left and right. And we want to also give this a fit height. Let's fill everything so that it basically fills the whole space of its parent stack. Same with all of these. Very important that everything is just set to fill and not fit. See how this would look. Okay, this is a little bit too big. Fill here and fill here. All right, so we got our design done in the desktop version. Now what we want to do is we want to just make sure that everything looks nice and dandy for the tablet version. So for this, I want to make sure that this is set to fill. So this looks nice also on the tablet. Good. Just making sure everything is fine. If you want to make changes again, do it from the desktop view. Don't do it from other views. So our products, showroom, boom, perfect. Okay. And now for the phone, this is going to be the important thing. So for this, we want this to be fill. We want this to be fill as well. And now important is that for the phone view, usually we don't want such a large padding everywhere. So you would have to just make sure that, it's like 20 on the right and left. Make sure that this overlay is still 100. Well, it is, okay. And for the fonts, make it smaller. Don't make it so large for the font. Like this. This is fine. Then we can adjust certain things. Again, here, just gotta make it 20 everywhere. Don't have to make it so steep. We can adjust the direction of this as easy as that. 20, 20. This one as well, we can adjust the direction, make this fill, make it like this. And let's just adjust this. Doesn't really matter, but okay. We can make this a little bit smaller so that we can see the whole image. We can make this go like this and make it 20, 20. Same here. 2020. And maybe adjust the gap between the two things. And maybe decrease the bottom one here as well, 2020. And we might want to make this go like this and decrease the height, make it fit content, add some gap. Perfect. Here we can set it to fill and adjust the height to be similar to the one that we did before, like this. Make this go downwards, make the height fit the content. As you can see, it's already going away. Gotta make sure that it fits the content. 60, 20, 20. And here, this is basically the footer, but now look how nice it looks. You can just adjust this a little bit. Again, the paddings on this right and left. And boom, we have our design ready. And now the next thing is just designing the other pages, obviously. And you would have to, like, for example, save the footer as a component, because, you know, we want to just go like this, save this as a component. So right click, create component, footer. And with this, you can just copy this into other pages and it's going to stay the same, right? And for the navbar, I wanted to do this at the very end because the navbar is a component, and it's going to have one variant as a desktop and one variant as a mobile. And it's always best to use a component library for this. So basically, you can just go on Compa, for example, get a block, navbar, and just drag this up here. And then what you can do, we can put this up here. There we go. And then basically what you do is you just make it in the same style. So you just double click here, navbar 1, and then you basically replace the logo. So I can just do this really quickly. Go here, click here, boom, remove this, replace the text. I'm not going to do this right now, but you can do this in your own. Put this phone number, for example. So I'm going to remove this one, and I'm going to just double click on this button, make it red. So it's going to have this red, and it's going to have like a darker red if you hover over it. And the shadow color will also be red, let's just say. And oh, we also have to add this shadow color to this one. So red. See that we saved that. That's good. And we can just, instead of putting get started, put this phone number, and it can do like I think it's call to something like that. And then basically replace this with the contents. And then as you can see, it's already like building. So that's how I would do it with the navbar. And then, for example, here, you just make sure that this is set to fill. And here it's set to tablet, here it's set to phone. Perfect. That's exactly how I would do it in this case. Yeah, so that's basically it. And if you have a blog, for example, which would be here, you can basically just come here and you can export your blog as a CSV, bring it into Framer, go here and click on this right here, import, and then you can just do CSV import. And once that's done, let's say that we have a blog from WordPress, and it's, let's say, these 5 different articles, we would have a blog page like this. This is going to be our index of our different blogs, and then we're going to have our articles page. And here we're going to see all of our different blog articles. And they're going to be in this default design, but basically you can do something similar where you just go to your page, you copy the different components, set out the layouts, and then basically you link everything. So here, for example, this image, it's an image, right? It says banner, but it's linked to this image in the CMS. And I have a bunch of content, talking about this type of stuff. But basically, this is all linked in the CMS content. So it's very easy. Yeah, this is basically the step of migrating from WordPress to Framer. And, it just took me about half an hour to build a nice landing page completely with the design from WordPress. And yeah, you just need a little bit of practice. And once you do that, it's going to be easy for you too. So hope you guys enjoyed this video like I did, and wish you guys a wonderful day today. Thank you. Bye-bye.